Good morning. This is your man who did it this time. And the title of today's little soliloquy is It Takes Everybody to Solve This Problem. It takes everybody to solve this problem. When I was a sophomore in high school, I was in Algebra 1. I want to say regular algebra, but I would like to be frank. It was Algebra 1, and then the second semester was geometry. And I remember being very frustrated whenever the teacher would call me at the board. Not because I was scared, but I just wasn't confident. And there's a big difference between, being scared of something and just needing a little bit of a kickstart to get your engine ready. You know what I mean? To trigger your brain so that you can at least have some confidence while you're at this board. And I remember the teacher, you know, giving us all these crazy equations, base times height and Pythagorean theorem, or the matrix, all this madness. And in my head, I knew I wasn't going to be no engineer, and I had no desire to be a math teacher or a mathematician. Didn't want to be a banker, an accountant. Any of those professions was not in my future aspirations. But with that being said, I thought about that, how nowadays, especially with my people, I hear all these people talking about we need to solve the problem. We need to do this for the culture, whatever culture that is, rap, Popeye's chicken, I'm not really too sure. The culture. I hear these idiots, not necessarily the brothers in the manosphere and the brothers with the red pill. I'm talking about the entertainers saying doing it for the culture. So I look at what's going on today in our society with people who think they could do the problem solving. And it takes me back to, being in school. Sometimes, there would be people at the chalkboard like my man Rigger who had put in the time and the effort to study tirelessly, to understand all of the algebraic equations, the formulas, word problems, definitions, you name it, he was on it. And he was my go-to. You feel me? So sometimes I would look at him for enlightenment. You know what I mean? Like, man, how'd you do that? And that was just from hours and hours of repetition. And we get that, man. But he was naturally smart also. I think he's gifted. Whether he knows this or not, Rigga, I love you. You know what I mean? But myself, I was a hard worker, but I just needed someone sometimes to guide me through the algebraic equation. You dig? So I might get frozen, like solving something, or I get stuck at one point, man. But the teacher would be like, you know what I mean? Here's your formulas, and remember to carry the one, or something real small, something real minute. But that would help me transcend not only the problem at the board, but the rest of the class. I'd be in a good mood, man. I'd be giving other workers or other groups beside us at the lab tables, like, man, here's what you need to do. Remember what she said? It would make me be a better leader. You know what I mean? So I'd be at the board starting off with a lack of confidence, but by the end of solving this problem, I would be a lot more upright. You know what I mean? My day would be a little better, at least during that period. Now, how does that correlate to today? Who did it? Specifically when it comes to these distractions that's going on in the world. We are all at the chalkboard, homie. But some of us are naturally trying to solve our problems, and we got it. We got the formula. We know what we need to do. Boom, boom, boom. And we got our answer. But some of us may need a good teacher. Remember what I said, man. Being a good learner can make you become a better leader. So we might need a teacher. We might need a leader. We might need an example, a template. We might need to study more. So we're at the chalkboard right now trying to solve social unrest, spiritual toxicity, understanding the body better, the mind better, understanding terminology. A lot of these people on TV are playing with words now. We need to be at this chalkboard understanding that we're either A, trying to solve this problem ourselves, or we need more help. But where I'm falling short at, and I believe a lot of you are too out there that's listening, we need to stop thinking that everybody's trying to solve the problem that we are. They're not even speaking the same language as you. And there are substitutes. There are imposters, alternatives. I'm sick of seeing the same circular argument every day on TV or on YouTube or on social media. You know, if that was us black folks, well, newsflash, they know already, and we know that we could not storm the so-called Capitol building. If that was us, okay, my question is, why do you keep going back and forth with someone who's abused you, supposedly, oppressed you, supposedly, raped you, all these things? Oh, they're Neanderthals and they're ungodly, they're uncouth. If that's the case, why are you in love with them and trying to stay in sync with them? Oh, I get it, because your teachers from the past and even now, some of your puppet leaders are teaching you to try to solve an unsolvable problem or unsolvable equation. It's madness. It's insanity. That's all we're seeing right now. Now, metaphorically speaking, the board is your own life, man. We're all trying to solve these problems, whether it's pollution in the spiritual world or just, idiots that are taking over, trying to keep us in back and forth banter with a so-called enemy that never loved you from the beginning. It's time to tell these folk to sit down. And I need a new teacher, or I need to be in a group collectively trying to solve this problem. Because this equation that they talking about out here, the end game is separation or detachment. And I'm not talking about necessarily to a color per se. But I have no problem acknowledging the fact that some of this does come from the higher elites who happen to be white. But they use higher elites who happen to be brown and black and Asian and Russian and gay and straight and trans. So we have to start being aware that all of these people that are supposedly trying to solve the problem and make everything equal, that's another part of the equation that is wrong. Everything cannot be equal because everything damn near is different. So if you're at the chalkboard talking about algebraic equations and the next fool beside me is talking about trig, and then the third blackboard down on the right is still at basic math, we need three different teachers. But I tell you what, I have no problem depending on my brother. That's why I brought up that young man Rigger, man. Big shout outs to him, man. High school buddy, man. Played all kinds of sports, all the way actually down to middle school. I'll never forget that, man, how he was a teacher without being a teacher. And sometimes he led the example by, even getting into arguments with certain teachers. He would love to know, why are you getting this answer and I'm getting that answer? Whereas a Negro like myself would go to the back of the book back in the day and be like, man, it says that. I'm gonna just copy this now. That was in my younger days, but the older I got, the more I realized I'm gonna have to be like Rigger. I'm gonna have to do it like this cat and put in some hours of work if I want to solve this problem. So it's time for that self-reflecting period, that self-awareness. This is your man who did it this time. All praises to the Most High. I'd like to give a shout out to all the brothers, man, from the StreamYard last night, from Welcome to HDTV's stream, man. That guy, subscribe to his channel, man. It was me, Detroit T, young brother named Christian, LB. Y'all just have to tune in, man. Whenever you get some downtime. The brother's name is Welcome to HDTV. He has a great series. I always tell him, man, he needs to make this a show. Why are you surprised? But much love to that guy, man. Again, this is your man who did it this time. I'm signing off. Y'all be blessed. Peace.